I'm sorry, man. I have Instagram live amnesia.
I think sometimes you're like sitting there watching me just try and deal with a bunch of people chatting to me, and you're just like laughing your head off in a
Yeah,
corner
yeah.
somewhere.
Just watching you dangle. I'm really
Yeah.
fucking sorry. I even put it in the calendar. I put it into the calendar and I've said set alarm 10 minutes before event. But I've gotten a new phone and maybe it's
Oh,
a
maybe it didn't sync yet or something.
yeah, yeah.
Well, everyone's delighted that you're here. Some people even said,
Hey!
"Hey, I'm only here for Rob. Not me until he gets here."
Or just to see if he'll show up.
Yeah, just to see does this guy really exist? Is he
Well,
actually part of this Earthlogger thing, or are they just using his more followers to get people
yeah.
in here?
Just that's how you get followers, isn't it? Just play really, really hard to get.
That's
Just
it.
rarely
Yeah.
like show up
Rarely
and be
turn up for
really
things.
unreliable.
You're like Axl Rose for Guns N' Roses. He like makes these events, takes all the ticket earnings, and never turns up.
Well, Tom, we haven't really talked very, very much
We've
anyway, only
we've not
via text
chatted.
messaging since the big old release of the ship.
We haven't. We haven't. And I think it seems people are enjoying it, which is great.
Yeah, yeah. I got a text from our boss a couple of mornings ago.
Oh yeah.
I woke up to a text saying, "How are you holding up, sir? The show is #1 in the whole world."
Wow. Wow. Well, people who are watching, thank you. Thank you for watching.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's brilliant news. I didn't know that. I knew that we'd done #1 in a few countries. I didn't know we'd got the world figures. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, #1 in the US there for a while, and then #1 in the UK, and #1 in
Yeah.
I got I got New Zealand. I got a friend of mine from New Zealand showing it was #1 there. So it's like we are
Crazy.
kicking some serious butt, man.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I love that people like just relate to the show so much, and it seems what's great about it is it seems that it's all age ranges and stuff. Like I get people coming up to me who are
yeah.
60, and then I get someone that's 14. It's so rare you get a show that people all seem to enjoy from that kind of an age range. It's great.
A friend of mine's sister is in the middle of open heart surgery right now, right?
Oh my God.
Just before she went under, the last thing she did was watch the Umbrella Academy. She was watching the Umbrella Academy. So I sent a little audio note just
Oh, bless her.
welcome back to the world, recovery and all that stuff. So she's like,
She's probably been dreaming about your face the whole time she was down there, and she comes back in your face. Thinking she'll just be coming back from the anesthetic. She'll be like, "Is this real?"
yeah, just little #5 just floating around her head, going through the stages of psychosis.
Yeah, exactly.
Type of psychosis. So what have you been doing, man? Have you been sort of tipping away? It's funny because the way Steve texted me, he was like, "Oh God, life must have changed dramatically."
It's like, nah,
not really, man.
nah,
I think it's a coup when you get people to look up from their phones in London.
totally. Yeah. Are you on the tube at all? Are you still using the tube?
Yeah, I was on the tube today. It's great. There's no fucker on it. It's great because I think in London, the tube, or Londoners' minds, the tube is like a giant COVID germ,
Yeah, yeah.
that
It's a
people are
germ
just
tube. Yeah,
steering well clear of.
yeah, yeah.
And,
I've got to do a couple of London trips coming up, and I'm wondering whether the tube is an option or not. But
I mean, there's very few people on it. I went to the airport on it about a week and a half ago, and then
oh right.
I slotted around Europe a little bit on holidays.
Oh, lovely. Where did you go?
I went to Malta,
Oh, great.
and then I went to Gozo, which is an island
Where's that?
neighboring Malta. But they're very, very, very clear in telling you that they're not Maltese. They want to be very, very distinct.
They've got their own identity.
They've got their own identity. But I think it's one of them things that Malta and Gozo are two places that have been taken over more times than you and I have had hot dinners. Do you know what I mean? You know, so there's a kind of a different balance of personality between Gozo and Malta.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah.
an interesting place. This is kind of ancient Arabic looking place, Malta. It's very sort of Arabic and then Catholic kind of vibe. You know what I mean?
Wow.
All the architecture and all the kind of. And then I went to Switzerland.
Oh my God, you went to Switzerland as well.
Yeah, I was.
You've been properly trekking.
I did. I was itching. I think I was just itching after the lockdown, just to get out and
To get away, yeah.
And I must say, Tom, it was the smoothest travel I think I've ever done in all my life.
Wow.
It was really, you know, no one jabbed me with a needle, no one shouted at me.
That's crazy because I fully expected it to be as soon as you get through, you're just being like, because they've got these laser. Did you get that? We went and did that Entertainment Weekly photo shoot, and they like shoot you with a thermometer gun. It's like a laser at your forehead.
Yeah. Having got a phone today, they did that to me at the Apple store.
Did they?
Yeah, and I felt very like someone had just stuck their hand down the back of my shorts.
I think the one that they used on that day was broken because both me and Laura, my wife, were like 33 degrees, which is incredibly cold.
That's like, according to our Extinction Rebellion guests, that's well dead. You
it's
are
dead.
Yeah,
it's dead. I was like,
proper dead.
I don't think I'm okay. It was, yeah.
It's clearly a lot of it is for show, I think.
I know. That was broken. I had a cold shower about an hour before, but I'm pretty sure I warmed up by then.
It's funny, actually. I had a bit of a cold shower a couple of days ago. Actually, on the advice of Bobby Maximus, one of our other guests.
Yeah.
Who's this kind of health and fitness guru? He saved himself, didn't he, with essentially by changing his diet.
Yeah, and an FMT, had a fecal matter transplant.
Oh yeah.
And then changed his diet. Yeah.
That's mad.
Saved his own life.
Saved his own life, yeah, because he had like a massive E. coli build up, didn't he?
Yeah.
Remember he was saying he couldn't even bend down to like empty the dishwasher and stuff.
Oh man, like he had severe C. diff, I think.
C. diff. Yeah.
Really
But
bad.
anyway, he was down this technique he was talking about on the Earth Locker, which was alternating between hot and cold, wasn't it? As cold as you can go to as hot as you can go 7 times.
Yeah.
In an ideal world, which no, I mean I'm not doing it 7 times, but a couple hours after
Who's got the time, Rob? Who's got the time of 7 times?
Yeah, I mean the neighbours would be hearing the shower going. They'd be like,
and the screams for when it turns cold.
Yeah.
What's going on?
But like a couple hours after I had the cold shower, I met up with a friend of mine and like touched their arm or whatever, and they were like, "Oh, you're very cold." And I still somehow retained the cold of the shower.
Yeah, that's happened to me before, especially if it's a cold day. Like, because normally, your body just like starts heating up again, and on a warm day, it's great because you come downstairs and you're like, oh, it feels good. But when you really drop your body temperature and you go and start the day, I mean, I was doing it in Toronto still when we were in the depth of winter, and I made a mistake because I never really warmed up.
Yeah,
it was so cold there.
And
I was taking these cold
showers.
showers.
Weren't you fasting on top?
I was fasting, yeah. So I was doing. I reckon I got it a bit wrong there because I ended up being particularly cold on set a couple of days, and I'm wearing that bloody suit as well. So there was a couple of days where I was like, I've got something wrong here.
Oh, you were chilly even with.
It was cold. Yeah, I couldn't warm up, so I stopped doing the cold showers in the morning, and that sorted me out.
Did you see our big spread in SFX magazine, or as my mate calls it, Sex Magazine? Let's see.
I never saw the SFX one. Is it good? Is it?
So cool, man. Check this out, all of you lovely watchers, listeners here. Check this out. This is so. It's me and you. It was on the day when we were shooting that big nuclear apocalyptic opener, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's the cover, right? Which is
yeah. Oh, that's a cool cover.
And then dun, 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 dun.
Oh yes, that's when they took the missile to the back, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is hilarious when you don't actually have a missile going your back. It was basically just me landing and screaming in Rob's face.
Which is quite common practice, to be honest.
Yeah, this is basically what this is a sort of a. This is basically what an Earthlocker episode looks like.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's amazing.
That's so cool.
It goes on to be like a big 5-page thing. It's glorious.
Wow.
Brilliant. And kind of each page is dedicated to a different facet of the show, you know. Oh,
Brilliant.
super
I need
good.
to get that. That's out in the UK as well, is it? Or do you get sent that from the US?
Yeah, it's in the UK. Yeah. I just got posted it, maybe on the request of my PR crowd or whatever. But it's it came to me in the post. So yeah, we'll get you a copy, definitely.
Yeah, I need to get one of those. Oh, that's cool. Also, my mum likes to collect every single magazine my face has ever appeared in.
Yeah.
She's got like this thing about, oh, well, let me know. I must have that.
Yeah.
Like, even if it's like a tiny little thing of my head, she'll like, I need it.
Keep the Hopper archive.
Yeah, I know. She's got all of them. All of them. But it's hilarious because when I've done like covers of, you know, like game magazines and stuff,
Yeah.
she'll go into Tesco and she'll just get that one magazine. She'll be like, just this, please. I'm thinking, I don't think you're the usual clientele, mother, for that.
Yeah. She's like, I just like seeing, you know, fit young fellas in briefs. I just love all that. I don't mind their orientation as long as they're in briefs. So the Earthlocker, my dad. And, you know, I think today we were kind of theming it, weren't we? We were sort of talking Umbrella and the Earthlocker.
Yeah, so like it's I think it's a really good time for people to see what we're doing with the Earthlocker, but also for us to answer some questions on Umbrella, because, you know, it's like you said, we haven't actually spoken, so we should answer some questions with what. So shoot the questions at the bottom as well, because we've got some that we got sent through the Earthlocker account, but we like kind of seeing your questions come in.
Yeah, a bit more kind of spontaneous. We have some earlier questions, and people are saying, "What are you eating?"
What are you eating? We usually have some kind of delicious crispy kale or something going on.
Yeah, that's what
there
I
you go. Oh, we've got there.
It's the old Sheehan's spicy kale popcorn.
Sheehan special. Now, I've eaten this. In fact, if you watch the Earthlocker, you'll see an episode where I nosh through a bowl of this. It's delicious, this crunchy kale. It's so good.
Yeah. And you get the extra added smugness that it's healthy.
It's damn broccoli, guys. It's not broccoli. That's actually kale.
Kale. And also I found there's a lovely leaf called mallow leaf that grows everywhere around London. And you'll find it in parks and stuff. And when you put that in the oven for about 8 or 9 minutes at like 140 or something, it like dissolves in your mouth. Like
yeah. Yeah, I remember you telling me about that stuff. That's it's like, what did you say it was like? It was like a packet of Skips.
Yeah.
If anyone who didn't know, in the UK and Ireland, we had these things called Skips, and they were basically just like dissolvable foam, but flavored like prawn cocktail.
Yeah. Prawn. They were prawn.
But they didn't really taste like prawn. They just were flavored. They were called prawn cocktail, but it didn't taste like any prawn cocktail I've ever had.
The prawn cocktail.
All right then, fans, what we got? You hate Skips? Yeah, I also hate Skips. I used to love them as a kid. Oh, actually, we can go into the questions section, can't we? Hang on, let's do this. We're terrible at this, aren't we? Look.
Yeah, we're quite. I'm the worst.
But this is kind of the beauty of the haphazardness of the Earthlocker. It's like you got to think of the Earthlocker just coming and hanging out with us for a bit, you know.
Yeah.
So, what was the hardest scene to shoot, Roberto?
Hardest scene to shoot? Oh, I was. I suppose for me, like, the challenges isn't necessarily the content. I mean, you know, it was a challenge playing Ben. That was tough because I wanted people. You know, I really didn't want to mess that up. I wanted to people to completely buy It was Ben inside the old Klaus.
Yeah. I thought you smashed that, man. I thought it was so good. Like I really, and I saw what was so brilliant. I think I've told you this before, but like this brilliant in awe of the world again, you know, like what it's like to feel the ground on your feet for the first time in so long. And, you know, because I mean, how long has Ben been dead by this point? He's been dead like over 10 years, right?
Yeah, he's been dead for, yeah, you're right, over 10 years. Because we've all been gone out of the house for about 17 years.
Oh my God, that's right, yeah.
About 16, 17 years, I think.
Yeah. So it was brilliantly played. Yeah, it was very good. Like, and
for
the
me,
work you put into that.
You're so good at mornings and stuff. You know, that's the challenge for me. Often is the morning stuff. In fact, the cover spread scene that I just showed you there, that was quite tough because it was quite a few days in a big blue screen bowl, essentially in a parking lot.
Yeah.
Around the corner from the studio. And because of the pyrotechnics and the special effects, it was just smoke and fire and dust. And
it was so hot those days. Remember those days? It was absolutely roasting.
And you were in that big fucking ape suit. Jesus Christ. So that's the stuff that kind of gets me. You know, it's the logistics, really. It's the kind of...
Yeah, it can be. Yeah. And like it's funny, just circling back to a little Earth Locker thing. Actually, is when you were saying about the sleep thing. I was doing some research recently about sleep patterns and what people, you know, some people struggle more in the morning, and some people come alive at night, and some people are ready to like go sleep. So there's a little thing in sleep psychology and stuff. A thing called so basically everyone's born with like a genetic makeup where they're either a lark. It's called a lark or an owl, or somewhere
an owl.
Owl. If you're a lark, you wake up in the morning, you're good to go, and this is part of your genetic code. Like it's just something you have, and there's not really anything you do about it. It's just it is what it. You can fight it and try and break that mold, but you'll never be optimal when you're doing it. But I know you must be an owl because you come alive at night and you can be like up all night and like buzzing. Yeah. But in the mornings, you're like, I'm just not there yet. Whereas I'm the opposite. I'm up 5 a.m., boom, 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 I'm good to go. Yeah. Come the evening, I'm like, I'm settling down. Yeah. But I think it's like 30%, around 35% of people are either a lark or an owl. And then some people kind of sit in between the two.
That's interesting. And it does shed light. And even when I was a kid, you know, when you're supposed to be up at 6 a.m. and watching all the morning cartoons, I was like, any excuse to stay in bed.
Yeah. That's like my wife. My wife is very much an owl. And they say, this is interesting as well, they say that often owls and larks end up together.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not sure how. Well, I'm not sure because like if you're both larks or both, I mean, maybe both larks will go, but maybe if you're both owls, you would never, you just lay in bed all day.
I suppose what they say, opposites attract.
I think they do.
One's keep so many.
The Owl Academy, very good.
The Owl Academy. Someone
very
said,
good.
Speak some Spanish. Eres muy bonita. Dame your back. And I think that's Italian. Eso.
Por favor, un ensalada con pollo y aguacate.
Agua con gas.
Agua con gas. Y aceite de oliva. See? No?
And now Mandarin.
I don't know why I sound like I sound like when I'm on helium when I do other accents, particularly European. If I go like Italy or Spain and try to order food, I go, "Hey, yes," I really have a slightly higher pitched voice.
I blame mostly probably Looney Tunes for that. You know, because it's so scorched into our psyche.
Yeah.
Kids.
Yeah. And
realized not too long ago that Speedy Gonzales.
Yeah, that's what it is. I think that's what it is.
Positive kind of racist stereotype of the kind of old cliche that Mexicans are lazy, and they're like, well, what if there was a really, really fast Mexican mouse.
I've got it.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's hilarious.
Someone just put here, this is a good question actually. I don't think we've ever actually gone over this.
Oh, yeah.
Which season was more fun to film, season 1 or season 2? I had more fun season 2, I think.
Yeah,
just because Luther was more fun in season 2 than he was in season 1. He was upset a lot, but I enjoyed season 1 immensely. But I think I had more fun playing Luther in season 2.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to. I suppose. Again, you know, there's so many aspects. There's so many kind of different ways to tackle the question. You know, this season I had so much more time off. You know, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. You know,
we were just so spread out, though, weren't we? It was like...
Yeah, and on the one hand, it was because we were all sort of disparate. On the one hand, it was like it was great because you feel very fresh, and there was never any. But on the other hand, you might be off for a week, and then you might come in for 2 days. And you're like, oh, what show are we making again?
Yeah. It did feel like we'd been away because I went on I took a motorbike trip down to New York in the middle of it.
Yeah, through Ahmed.
He was like mad. I went through all these places in America that I was like, oh my God, this is like a different world now. It was like Amish farmers. And it was like I went into a time warp. People down there just live off the land, but it was literally like, because I've seen them on documentaries and movies and stuff, but it's like, oh, that must be just like one village or something that's like that, or one little bit. But there was just these towns where these people had the Amish beard and just had like horses and carts and stuff.
Literally transplanted a tradition from the 17th century, probably.
Yeah, and just lived that way.
I watched Eric Andre's Netflix special the other night, which is fucking fantastic.
Oh, is it good?
Called Legalize Everything. And there's one bit where he's talking about, the Pilgrims were credited for discovering America, or at least, killing all the natives and restarting America. But those were the people who looked around in Europe and were like, decadence, devilry everywhere. Oh my God, premarital sex. We have to go and start a very pure colony over west over the Atlantic. And so that kind of, and then they were Calvinists, John Calvin was this highly fucking draconian, very sort of, buttoned up, stick up the arse, no offense Calvinists, but he was, and also, and I'm stealing from Eric Andre, but he murderous, if they caught anybody in their clan, teenage girl out of wedlock who was pregnant, she'd be put to death.
Wow.
So those are the people, and that's the kind of morals that's still informing the laws, the views, the everything.
Yeah. In
Europe and in America, probably more so in terms of America,
Yeah, massively, I'd say, in America. What was the improv? What was the improv like this season? Rob, I know you like to do a lot of spontaneous on set. How did that go? Improv's always fun on this set.
It's good, yeah, it's great. They say to you, if you'll do us the respect of getting at least once what's on the page.
Yeah.
And then let the ideas kind of flow. So that's it really. That's the kind of thing. And depending on, I suppose, how many casts are in a scene means how many takes you get, and you can always insist on more, but ultimately you get maybe 4 or 5 takes maximum.
Yeah.
And within that, you get to play,
It's always a bit of a process when we do the big group scenes and improvising, because obviously there's so many lines coming here, there, and everywhere. But when it always seems that we have a knack as a group to play around, and it always we always sort of find our way, don't we? Which is a sign that it's a testament to the chemistry, I think, of the cast.
Yeah. I think we bait each other a little bit as well.
Yeah.
We kind of.
I swear, Rob's always trying to make me laugh because it usually gets me. Yeah, 9 times out of 10, he'll get me. So I'm just hopeful I'm not in shot when he says something that's. Utterly hilarious.
I once did a film many years ago. What was that? 2021, and we were in a Hungarian forest. It was me, Nicolas Cage, and Ron Perlman, and Stephen Graham from Boardwalk Empire, and Claire Foy from the Queen.
That's a great group of actors. Holy shit!
It was mad. Stephen Campbell Moore, lovely singer, and everyone was corpsing, which is a kind of an industry term for laughing uncontrollably, right?
Yeah.
And we were all sort of huddled around this campfire. And we're supposed to be like eating rabbit and kind of the stories being told, and just everyone, as soon as it came round, they were just in bits, red in the face, tears rolling down your cheeks. And it got round to Nick Cage, and he's like, "Oh my God, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this." Right? He was really like sort of anxious about it. And on just before the first take, he was sort of the giggles were bubbling, so he just stuck his hand in the fire. Right?
Oh my God!
And he went, "Ah!" Which, of course, only fueled the fire of the laughter. And everyone was like...
Yeah, because everyone's like going to lose their shit.
And then the first aid was over, medical, and was like... Oh my God.
Is he a bit... He's like... He seems so extreme, Nick Cage. I love him to bits. Like, I love him as an actor. Like, and I watch him on interviews and stuff. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's nuts, but brilliant.
Yeah, he is. He's nuts and brilliant, yeah. And I think the two things are deeply interwoven, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it'd be great to get... We said, it'd be great to kind of announce. It hasn't happened yet, but he has agreed. I mean, it's unofficial, right? So don't blame us if it doesn't actually happen. But I think it probably will happen. That Ron has agreed to come on the podcast.
Mr. Ron Perlman.
And talk about politics, talk about trolling, talk about... you know, stuff that he's quite passionate about. He told me a story about, you know, there was a kind of a gathering support behind him because he was such a commentator on the US election and post-US election because he's so anti-Trump and very outspoken about it. And everybody was like, right, come on, Ron, put your money where your mouth is. We support you to run for office. And he was like, you know, he was kind of sort of tinkering with the idea, but then ultimately...
Yeah, you know, I think he could do it. I think he'd be, because he can definitely talk, can't he?
Yeah, he can talk trash, baby.
He can, and he's a leader. You know, I think he's. I wonder what his policies would be.
Yeah,
I'd like to see him dress as Hellboy and do it.
But that was the thing, was like, he said he had to stop because there was a lot of abuse being directed towards his relatives from, you know, I'm sure far-right Trump-supporting assholes.
Yeah.
He was like, I don't want this in my life. This is ugly. You know?
That would be a really interesting thing to talk to him about, is the trolling thing. Because I think trolling is one of those things now that many people have to put up with, you know. My friend Sam Hewen went through a major issue with that.
Yeah. He's an actor, isn't he?
Yeah, he's an actor. He's the lead guy in Outlander, and we did a movie together last year. And he's had a real big problem with it.
Why was he getting trolled? I mean, he's
I don't actually know the details. I just know that he actually started posting a big thing on Instagram saying, you know, everyone needs to please just stop this now. And it was something to do with like hassling his family and stuff. It was really bad.
And that's kind of where I suppose it'd be interesting to see what happens with the forum of social media, because all of that is just going to drive people away. It's going to repel people away from it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it's going to become a sort of a hollow shell potentially. Yeah. You know, but then it's hard to police any of that stuff, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I think that Instagram and, you know, or Facebook and all these, they have to kind of take responsibility for it, I think, and they have to like step up and police it in a way.
And they kind of they're not sort of answerable to the Fifth Amendment because they're private companies, you know.
That's it. Yeah.
They have their own kind of, so it's up to people not to be dickheads ultimately.
Yeah, listen, you just don't be dickheads.
Yeah,
it's easy. It's really not that hard.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But I think that what is interesting about the whole lockdown situation is that apparently that's gone tenfold
Is it?
now. Yeah, I think I'm not sure what that's to do with it. Like people just, I don't know, have more angst, I suppose, because they've been shut in a bloody room for 6 weeks or whatever,
and then forced to get to know your significant other or your kids.
I wonder what the rate of divorces has been this year.
Yeah, apparently it's quite high.
Is it?
It's plus haut, as they'd say in France.
Yeah, you know, and we've had a great, because it's kind of been the opposite for me and Laura in the sense that because we've just had so much time to spend as a family, you know, it just doesn't happen this often. So
that's great, man.
Usually our testing times are because I'm away a lot and, you know, she's having to deal with two kiddies.
Like, and you might not, it's hard for you because you've kids and everything. It's like,
yeah,
away from them for months on end. That's really tough, like.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they came out to Toronto for like a few weeks in the summer when we were.
Are you back?
Someone.
Do you know? No, Thomas. When I was coming through Zurich, I saw a Victorinox, and I'm accidentally plugging this brand, but I don't care. They're these lethally brilliant knives, and they do like Swiss pen knives and stuff, and they just never dullen. And then I was chopping sweet potatoes for dinner with me and a friend, and I took a proper chunk out of my thumb, and I was like, you know when you bleed, like where it's like,
yeah, mate,
down your hand kind of bleeding. It's like, oh my god, just from a little tick. So Victorinox,
yeah, well those are like
rare.
Oh man, yeah, been there, my friend. Oh, that it just froze at a brilliant moment on your mouth then.
He's a stuntman. So please show your bun. I hope you mean my hair, young lady.
I was going to say, I don't have a bun. I assume you're talking to Robert.
We can get you on for season 3.
I think Luther should have a bun next year.
Yeah. What if Luther just goes all kind of quite sort of hippie and quite like, you know, becomes like a real bum? That'd be hilarious.
Oh, that would be good. Yeah.
Because he kind of does in the comic book a bit, doesn't he? In the second comic book, he sort of the emotional.
Oh, he definitely becomes. Yeah, he becomes a bit. They've taken a bit of that influence toward the end of the first season, really, where he just can't be asked to do anything, and he's like depressed, and then so they kind of combined a bit of the second comic with the first, I suppose.
Yeah. Sophie Macon, you want to go on a date? Yes, I do. If that was
always he does.
But he's married, so you know he's off balance. Oh, you would be quite good actually in season 3. Someone else asked a question there. Oh, what would you guys like to see? What if the Swede, the surviving Swede?
Oh yeah.
My cult. What if he turns them into a bunch of like maniacal assassins?
That would be good.
We have to take down my cult in season 3.
Was there a Charles Manson type idea about the cult thing? You know, there was like a.
Yeah, there was a bit of Charles Manson. That was mostly my haircut, I think. But there was Ken Kesey in the Merry Pranksters. That's an interesting one because back in, I think it was like 1962 or very, very early 1960s, there was some LSD medical trials went on, I believe in the University of Oregon, where Ken Kesey went. And he was one of the subjects. He was a student, but they administered LSD to a bunch of these students under observation and everything. And they had such a profoundly life-changing experience that they broke back into the university at night. They stole all of the acid. There was like massive barrels of it. And then they took it from the university, got a bus, painted it, and like the bus in the show. And they called the bus Further. And then they got Neil Cassidy, who was one of the inspirations of On the Road, the Jack Kerouac book.
Oh yeah.
Neil Cassidy was this is constantly on speed, hip hopping and just jabbering and sort of this kind of crazy, interesting character. And they just drove back and forth around America, kind of picking people up, dropping people off, taking acid, and sort of kind of embodying the spirit of the road. And that was where the beginning of the idea of Klaus's cult came from.
Oh, is it?
Inspiration. And then he went on to
Never
write.
knew that.
He wrote One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest as well, Ken Kesey.
Oh, that's where I've heard the name before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he never wrote another book again. I think he inherited his dad's farm in Oregon, and then just kind of grew plants and probably.
How was that? Oh my God! Because One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is amazing writing.
Yeah, I've never read it.
Oh, it's so good. I read it before I did the play, and it's brilliant. It's so good.
Yeah, yeah.
I played this in at high school. I played Chief, who's like the big Indian chief.
Yeah. Nice.
And
in Leicestershire.
Yeah. We took it up to Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really good. It's good fun.
With the chief.
But playing the chief, yeah, I was the only one tall enough to play him.
Did you have a wig?
I didn't have a wig actually. No, they took less of the Indian chief thing and just decided to make me look like a prison inmate.
Yeah.
Just like a big dude.
Speaking of indigenous folks, I watched this amazing movie last night that my friend recommended to me called Embrace of the Serpent, which was, I think in 2015 it was nominated for Best Foreign Language Film at the Oscars. And I think it's a Colombian film, but it is fucking incredible, absolutely amazing film. And they got these native guys from the Amazon, and they're the main actors in it. And there's two white actors in it, one German guy, I believe, and one American guy called Breon Davis, and they're all speaking in the ancient language of the Uitoto. And it's just like, it's all in black and white, but it's just like, it was so transporting of a movie because it's shot in HD, it's like vivid Amazonian HD, and it's about the turn of the 20th century when, the rubber barons were coming in and deforesting and killing thousands of people, and also the Spanish missionaries, Spanish colonialists were going in there and trying to spread the word of fucking Christianity, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And going out and looking for more converts, i.e. going out and essentially stealing native children, and putting them in these little like Christian compounds, and then but it's just like it's just a tour throughout that part of history. And like really, if you enjoy movies, any of you should check out Embrace of the Serpent. It's
Embrace of the Serpent. I'm going to check that out. That sounds amazing.
Favorite person to do a scene with? Well, season 1, me and Tom played some intense tennis. And
we had some fun times in season 1.
Yeah, I really liked that stuff we did in season 1 when you'd kind of lost the rag. Luther.
Oh yeah, when Luther went down the rabbit hole of his dad's drink cabinet. Well, it was so much fun, that scene.
That'd be good to have some more of that.
Yeah, that's the one thing about season 2. That one thing I felt was missing for me was I never really got a scene. I got a scene with everyone else, really, like a one-on-one scene with everyone apart from you on that one.
Yeah, I was off doing my adoring cult stuff. I must say I really enjoyed that this season. Really enjoyed that. That was because it felt like such a fun field trip, and because we were contained in this beautiful mansion and gardens, the crew felt smaller and the sun was
more relaxed, I suppose, as well.
Yeah, I suppose like you and Aidan when you guys did the whole 10 stages of psychosis and the two.
Totally, yeah. It was such a it did feel it was something about that did feel like more intimate or something.
Yeah.
It become those storylines become, like you say, like their own little mini movies.
They do exactly. They're their own kind of contained stories, isn't it?
Yeah.
But but if there was a season 3, and I'm not sure if there is one yet, I'd be optimistic. I mean, I think we did pretty well.
Yeah.
But I think the cult. I think I'd like me anyway for Klaus to kind of move on from the cult, and for him to sort of tackle the problem at a deeper root,
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting to see what is going to happen. Just from I mean, I don't want to. If anyone's not seen the end yet, I don't want to put any spoilers in it. So, but it will be interesting to see where we go from here. Like what episode 1, season 3 would look like.
Yeah.
Whether it's directly after that ending or what.
It would have all these Sparrow Academy twats in there.
Yeah, I wonder what they're going to look like.
Well, in the comic book, I don't know if I can say this. It's hard to know. Maybe I should leave it alone. I was going to say one of them is quite distinct.
Oh, right, yeah. Oh, that's true in the comic. I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, that would be interesting if they went that route.
That's not out yet, is it?
The Hotel Oblivion's out.
And the Sparrows, but they don't show up in Hotel Oblivion, do they?
I don't know.
I was reminded, actually, I saw something online. It was a picture of, I think it might have been in SFX magazine, actually. It was a picture of me, Ellen, and Emmy, and we're in the hair salon. We've got those
oh, yeah.
And that was like a direct, thank you, I have my lovely assistant here, giving me my props. Thank you, Maria. Oh, yeah, so in the comic book, there's exactly, kind of almost exactly the same scene. I forgot about that.
Oh my God.
There's it. Yeah, doing my nails.
It's weird when you see those little influences that you forget were even from the comic.
Yeah, thank God.
I wouldn't have known that.
Fair play to old Chris Hargadon. Here's Tom.
Yeah.
Tom, pretty mean pose there.
Oh, that was great. That was a really fun scene to do. That was me playing out my Rocky tracksuit running scene.
Yeah, and then at the end, they're like, what do they say to the kids? They like ridicule you.
Yeah, it could be a loser or something, don't they? Oh. It's like...
Oh dear. But so
we have about probably about 10 minutes left here, guys.
Yeah, we haven't done much question answering, but that's okay.
So let's see what we have.
Was it hard to pretend you're on laughing gas, Tom? I would imagine that was a little bit hard.
Well, it wasn't initially, and then because obviously when you're shooting, you do so many takes, don't you? So it's like it was the keeping it fresh. And keeping that laughing fresh. But what was great about it is we kept finding new funny moments as we did it. There was new bits that we started to find genuinely really funny. But he was great, man. Like the guy who played Elliot, we had such a brilliant time doing that scene.
What was his name? Kevin?
Kevin. Yeah, Kevin.
He was lovely.
He was great. Such a nice guy. Really nice guy. And really talented, man. He smashed it as that character. I was really kind of disappointed when he died. Oh, if you haven't seen it. But if you're not there yet. But I was like, oh man, he's a real fun element this season. A bit like Herb, I think Herb was such a great addition to this season.
Herb's going to be a regular fixture.
Oh, he's got to be, man. He's so funny. It's brilliant. That dynamic between him and David.
It's a little bit romantic.
It is, yeah. And when they do, apparently the little handshake thing they do in 10, they just did one take. They just threw it in there in one take, and then they were told, don't do that again. And then Steve kept it in. Yeah,
Steve, I tell you, he's a cheeky, mischievous sprite.
He is.
He's always going to go for the kind of odd choice, I think.
Yeah. I love that about him, and is the way. And the thing is, though, that's why I kind of love about the way he sees this show. You know, he sees the way, you know, we bring these goofy moments, or like we go, oh, screw it, let's try this, or let's just do that.
Yeah.
You know, so often he's like, yeah, that's what the show is. It has these crazy, quirky moments that kind of feel a little bit off kilter at the time, but actually tend to slot in.
I really appreciate, because Steve is sort of the kind of last approval of the edit as well, and I really appreciated how he and the editors edited me kind of down, especially around the stuff where I tell the cult that I'm a fraud, you know, and also the one where I'm talking to younger Dave, and you know, he goes, well, because of you, I've actually signed up to enlist for the Vietnam War early, prematurely, compared to the original timeline. And I'm like, wait, what? And I'll be honest, I performed both of those scenes more emotionally than they were edited, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that they brought it down, because it kind of it keeps Klaus slightly more on the sociopathic side, you know. But
Yeah.
keeps him going, I don't really care about any of these people, you know. And also, I think when you grow up in a house like the Umbrella Academy, the worst thing you can do is show weakness.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, no, you were right there. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, you were right.
Yeah.
So I think I've benefited massively from the edit.
Yeah, sometimes that can happen, you know, like there's certain, I mean, I don't know about you, sometimes when I leave the set, there's certain choices that I make where I think, oh, I hope they don't put that one in, because that was, I think I missed the trick there. And then, you know, usually they look after you. It's rarely the one that you really didn't want in there. I think there was like one maybe this season that I was like, oh, it's a bit hard. But
yeah, one or two. I just saw a good question go past there, Tom. If you actors, what careers would you go for, do you think?
Well, if I had a few years back, I think I probably, considering where my life is now and stuff, I think I would have really liked to have gone into some kind of like functional medicine, or like some kind of health,
which ultimately
field.
is kind of what you've done with the Earthlocker. You know, this is I think this is, you're pursuing that passion via...
Yeah, I suppose it is really, in a way. It's my way of not, you know, sort of obviously giving any advice. I'm not doing that, but I think by getting older people who can and trying to like help people, because I get a real passion out of helping people. And you know, I've gone through like injuries, and I've gone through illnesses, and like had really bad health turns, and it's because I've taken control of my own health that I go, oh, there's another side. It doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah, and you've experienced...
and I've experienced the worst, and then I've experienced what it's like on the other side, and I want other people who might be on that journey to know about it and to feel great. Yeah. And you don't realize it until you go through that journey. So I think it comes from a real desire to help people sort of find that.
Yeah.
What about you?
I don't know, maybe something with plants.
Oh yeah.
Really, I get a disproportionate amount of love and fulfillment out of...
You do, yeah. I can vouch for this. Rob has an amazing array of plants out on your balcony, don't you, pal? You've got like...
I did. I'll be honest, the Malta, Switzerland trip kind of killed a lot.
Ah, yeah, it must have screwed him.
No, and I was talking to my neighbour when I come back, and he was like, why didn't you get me to come up and water them? And I was like, because I'm an idiot, that's why. And also because I'm moving soon. That was the other part of it.
Oh, that's right. Of course, you're moving house, yeah.
I'm moving, and I'm going to have a garden, and I'm not going to be relying on pots. Because the truth is, plants require twice as much maintenance when they're not in the ground. And I was like, you know, you can die. It's fine. I know, I do. But it's tragically awful coming back from the trip and seeing like my pea shoots and stuff all gone a bit dead, and you know, but I'm kind of, it's all practice kind of leading up to when I'm going to have a plot of ground to...
Yeah, you'll be able to do. Are you going to get like an allotment or something, or?
No, I'll have a garden. You can do it in the garden? Yeah, I'll have a pretty decent garden. So
Oh man, that's a dream in London as well, to get a proper garden that you can do all your planting and stuff. You're
yeah,
gonna have, what are you gonna have, like veg and
veg, marijuana.
yeah.
I'm gonna have I'm gonna have veg. Get a little irrigation system going. My friend Kieran lives around the corner from me, and he's grown like lovely yields of rocket. He's had several harvests of rocket.
Yeah.
Really easy.
Is rocket
Yeah.
relatively easy to grow, I think, is
Yeah,
it?
I think so.
Yeah.
And kale is easy too. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great, because they're really like nutritious dark leafy greens, those. They've both got some brilliant compounds in them.
Yeah, and they're always tastier when you grow them at home. They're
Oh yeah.
tasty. And wildflowers, man. I love growing flowers because it's a sort of a potluck thing. The way I like doing it, you get just a big box of mixed wildflower, and you just throw them down and you see what grows. You know.
Yeah, that's wicked. What about dandelion? You know, dandelion greens are amazing for you.
Really
Yeah, and they're pretty tasty as well.
easy to grow too. Easy.
Yeah.
To grow.
Yeah, dandelions, they go anywhere.
I have a thing here a friend gave me, which is a whole load of seeds that they collected, and it's like it's loads of really great stuff. So this actually it's dried herbs. It's dried herbs. So that's I believe that's Chinese yarrow, which is really good for you.
Oh, great.
Make
Oh,
poultice out of. This is red this is red clover.
oh, look at that.
Narrow leaf plantain. Whoops. They're
Yeah, the
really
narrow-leaf plantain stuff is that's really good for you as well. Oh, guys, we only have 20 seconds remaining.